702. Education.
Obakeng E.R. Gaitate is an accountant, he's an author, he's an economist and a corporate law consultant. He's the founder of Gaitate Institute, an organization which assists and guides individuals and businesses to build their own economies. Gaitate Institute also aims to build 1 million millionaires, multi-millionaires and 1,000 billionaires by 2030. And Obakeng joins me now. I call him Papa G. Some people call him Bra Obi. Many different names that he goes by. Papa G, tell me, 1,000 billionaires by 2030?
1,000 billionaires. It's actually very little when you consider the business opportunities that are there. The issue of COVID, the issue of the changing weather, these are all opportunities that await entrepreneurs to serve their communities and from the result build formidable businesses. So when we say 1 million millionaires, and 1,000 billionaires. When you look at the problems, you must remember that businesses exist to solve problems.
Yeah.
So the bigger the problems that are there, the greater the opportunities for creative, innovative individuals to sort out these problems and in the process build formidable businesses. That's it.
Do we have the depth of creativity that we require to be able to take advantage of the opportunities that are created by these big problems? And we have no shortage in this country of big problems.
Oh, we do.
Do we have the capacity? Do we have the ability to turn this situation around with the kind of creativity that would be required? And if yes, where is that creativity? If no, how do we find it?
Well, the beautiful thing is that we are all creative. I think where we find, it's not only a South African problem, it's a global problem, is that our creativity has been lulled. Our creativity has been put to sleep because of the way we've been socialized for many reasons.
Yeah.
But the truth of the matter is that when a society is put in difficulties, you always find that people, individuals, societies, families, they rise to the challenge because the creativity is within all of us.
Yeah.
I think one of the things I always say is that the universe is very fair in that no one has been not given sufficient creativity and innovation and wherewithal within them to be able to live a successful, prosperous, and happy life.
Yeah.
All of us were given that. What happens is that, and it's a very unfortunate thing, is that certain societies or certain communities we find ourselves in, they minimize these things that are within us. They minimize our creativity. They minimize the fact that we can think. They minimize the fact that we can solve problems. So these are things that, as I say, very unfortunately, we find ourselves in. Sometimes it's certain homes we find ourselves in, is certain friends we find ourselves among. And these are the external forces that lulls the creativity that is there within us. So all that needs to happen is we need to show people that, listen, this creativity, you do not need an external thing to waken up. It's inside you. So once individuals awaken to the fact that the creativity, the ability to solve problems is within them, and they need to go within to find it, whether you call it meditation, thinking, being in nature, walking in the
prayer,
whatever
makes you
there's
get to
many
the place,
there's many spiritual practices, there's many ways of getting within and getting in touch with your true
mindfulness, presence,
quietness, being present. So there's many tools that are out there, and so the reason we know that the goals we've set for us we can achieve is because we know we need to educate people and teach people and awaken them to the truth of who they are.
I'd like to take your calls on 011-883-0702 and ask you this question. Are we geared as a population, as a citizenry, as a people with our socio-economic challenges? Are we orientated in the way that we are socialized, educated for the purpose of problem solving? One thing that I know is that we are very good at problem identification. Wonder though whether we have been primed, educated for problem solving. Because I think that is what you are talking about, Babaji, in that we need to start awakening that creativity within ourselves that is able to understand the realities within which we find ourselves and then manipulate them for the solutions that can be found in our own creativity.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It doesn't matter where you are, whether you're talking to someone that thinks they are unemployed. Incidentally, the Stats SA released unemployment numbers today, and it's very interesting to see how the numbers are looking and how they are going up and up and up. But yes, the truth of the matter is that, for instance, if we take a class of people that think they are unemployed, that they have been educated to say that I need a boss to guide me in being creative and in solving problems. So this is what I talk about when I say our socialization, the way we've been introduced into the world of adulthood. And this starts from home. Ngwanaka o hole o ye ko university, o create miracle, secure job and things. We must understand that this starts from a very young age. At school, they educate from our parents. You must get good grades, because if you get good grades, you'll be able to go to university, you'll be able to get a good job, with all due respect. And I think the important thing, as you rightly said at the beginning, Aubrey, is that education is important, yes. But I think what we're saying here is that people must stop using education as an excuse of their substandard existence. I think one of the callers from our previous conversation, he was saying that South Africa is building a subpar society. And I think what we're saying is that let's not use education. I think the truth is, let's not use the lack of education to live a substandard life. Because I'm not educated, I cannot be creative. Because I didn't go to university, I cannot solve problems. That is a lie.
Give me a call. I'd love to hear from you. 011-883-0702. We're talking about what are the hindrances that prevent people from building their own economy. Let's get into that conversation, Babaji. Clearly, our conversation has already started by identifying socialization, education sometimes as a reason why we tend to institutionalize or get institutionalized into thinking that there's only one way that we can be relevant participants in the economy.
Yes. Yeah.
And it brings me to the question that says, sometimes I look at the way that we are socialized, educated, and it is reminiscent of a particular time. It is reminiscent of a time when we were in the third industrial revolution, where we were producing people that were mass educated in a particular curriculum, in a particular style, in a particular way.
Correct.
We produced people that have all studied the same thing and they've received a particular credential, and those people are the ones that we call educated. And then I think that the very same kind of thinking, the very same kind of socialization is what gave us the problems we have now. And there is sometimes a saying that says you can't solve the problems that you have with the tools that created the problems.
Absolutely.
And that says to me that we need to find ways of socializing ourselves and re-educating ourselves with the orientation of problem solving rather than with the orientation perhaps of wanting to get a job?
Absolutely. You've hit it on the nail. You talk about an era of education. The article you and I were looking at the last time we were together was talking about AI. And I think it's a great article. People should find it and read it. But you see, the challenge I have with the author of that article, he says that government should work on re-educating a people. The author of that article says that we need basically we're saying we need a new education specifically in the area of AI. And I think he goes on to say that as South Africans, we lack the proper education in the area of AI. So the only problem I have with that article is that he places government as a responsible agency to educate people around AI. And I differ with the respectable author in that I'm saying it's not government's responsibility. It's each and every one of us that are responsible in saying we need to move with the times. We are not, I mentioned last time that, when I was at university myself, there was no AI in my course at that time.
Yeah.
And if I have to stand here and say to you, Aubrey, I've got this degree, and this degree will lead me to a great life, I'm out of touch with the world. I'm out of touch with reality, because today AI is a big thing. In our groups as accountants, we talk about how do we as accountants embrace AI. But if I were to stand and say, no, I'm a qualified accountant of so many years in practice and think I'm adequate to meet my client's need today, I'm out of touch with the world.
How do we get in touch with the world and therefore your own economy? How do you create your own economy? And it appears, based on what I'm hearing from Babaji, is that we need to have a situation where we understand how to relevantly, in other words, in context of this time and these realities, apply the things that we know. But I think that the key issue there is that there needs to be an application. There needs to be an application. It's a critical part of, and what that means is not just an application, but an in situ application, a context-driven application of whatever it is that we know for the purpose of solving problems.
Yes.
Because only then do we become
relevant in solving the problems of today. The problems of today. We're not talking about problems of 1950 or problems of 1920. We cannot stick with the education of 1920 in 2023.
Take some calls. Uncle Superstar is on the line. Uncle Superstar, good evening to you.
Good evening to the listeners as well, Mr. Papaji. So I like just to comment and say thanks for the topic. Indeed, you are given, we can design, we can deploy, we can maintain. As Africans, we have a brand business who are grown from the rural areas, we learn the business, but we didn't never understand what the business. Like traditional healers, those things, those skills who learn there, those who learn to talk with the patients, to make patients understand how to take medication and know how to make a man when they are young. There are a lot of things. There are skills, there are drums we make, there are a lot of local businesses we can be involved. Also our child, they have those skills. There is software skills, hardware skills, but right now that's why I say there's red tape that's difficult to break.
Yeah. Uncle Superstar, thanks very much for your contribution there. Yeah, I suppose it is true that there is talent, right?
Absolutely.
Mine is, how do we make that talent actually surface into reality? And how do we make the individuals who are the custodians of that talent understand how it actually functions, so that they understand their role in the greater economy, but in the creation of their own economy based on what we've been talking
in
about.
the creation of their own economy. Absolutely. You must understand something, Aubrey. I'm listening to Uncle Superstar here, and I realize that, I guess some of the things that we could look deeper into is that some of, especially us Africans, because of the fact that we didn't know that we are key participants in the economy. So what has happened is that
Or deliberately kept out of the participation.
both.
Yep.
Yes. Other individuals have taken our skills and our talents, and they packaged it and built an economy and made more money than us. They've taken herbs, they've taken our medication, and they've packaged it in such a way that they could serve more people.
Yeah.
Because of the fact that we were not aware that we are key participants in the economy, because we were not aware that we build our own economy, we were small pawns in the greater system of building our economy. And as a result, other people took advantage of that because we didn't have the right education and creativity and understanding that we are actually responsible of our own economy.
Give us a call. How do you ensure that you create your own economy based on what you know, based on the surrounding problems that are with us? I sometimes wonder whether the general ethos of South Africans specifically, of being generally obedient to authority and so forth, is not part of it, in that we have been thoroughly institutionalized to the point where we want to get permission to be angry about certain problems that we've got to get permission first to say that, listen, this is wrong. There's a mindset that I find prevalent that says that when I say to you that, but this is not the way I am supposed to be treated, that I am being negative, that there is and I find that many cases that is part of the reason why we don't look for solutions, because we don't believe that we have the right to say that this is not how I want to live. We are generally the type of people who don't like to complain because, and for many different reasons. Could that be part of the reason why perhaps our creative and innovative muscle has been disused, unused?
It has been lulled.
Yeah.
We are saying your creativity muscles, your problem-solving muscle, our socialization has put it to sleep. But the truth of the matter is these are serious forces. These are mighty powers that are within us. And that culture, that socialization of always seeking permission is a big problem. I remember you're reminding me of an incident back home in the Northwest where a lady, she's working in a shop. Her child had a problem. Her child was sick, not well. And this lady, with all due respect, tries to phone the boss to say, hey, boss, my baby, I need to take my baby to hospital. For whatever reason, couldn't get hold of the boss for that morning. I think by 10 o'clock, the lady decided, my baby's life is more important. So the lady didn't go to work, took the baby to hospital. What happens the next day? Obviously, then the boss rocks up at the shop about, I think, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Where is so-and-so? Why didn't she come to work? And then the colleague says, no, she tried to get hold of you. Your phone was not getting through. But cut long story short, the lady took the baby to a hospital. The next day, she was fired. And she had proof that she had taken the baby to hospital because of that situation. Yeah. I think Aubrey, we need to understand that mindset, that socialization of having to constantly seek permission, seek approval, is one of the challenges that now look at the way our system is structured. In most employment cases, only bosses, supervisors come up with ideas to say, no, let's do things like this. Yeah. But the majority of us as employees, we just follow the instructions. We do as we are told. If we do not follow the line that the manager supervisor gives us, we know we are in trouble. First warning, second warning, your job is on the line.
So it sounds to me like we're thoroughly institutionalized.
Oh, too much.
So to the point where we are our own regulators and censors. And my question is, while I suppose at a governance level that's a desirable citizen to have, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But I wonder whether that is the kind of person that is required to be a disruptor. Because it appears to me that what you are calling for are people that are going to disrupt. And I'm saying disrupt in the economic sense, by the way.
Yes.
Because people who are way too compliant, in my opinion, tend to not be disruptors. They are very compliant. They follow the rules. They are told what to do and say, and they don't question.
True.
And in those instances, things usually stay the same, or they regress.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I want to take a call, and then let's continue the conversation. My guest is Obakeng E.R. Gaitate. I call him Papa G. We're talking about how or what are the hindrances that prevent people from building their own economy. And Nare is in Blair Gowrie. Hi, Nare.
Yes, with your guest Obakeng. Yeah, I think the problem we have been programmed by the government. We've been programmed by the society and the culture where we live in. Because my belief is there is no one who's educated. If you say you are educated, it means that you have stopped learning. So for me, if a person says that educated, it means that person is specialized on a certain field or on a certain area in his life. For example, if a person is a doctor and then you ask him about computer programming, Java and other stuff, he won't know. So you will say that person is not educated on that field. So I don't believe that people are educated. I believe people that just specialize on a certain field and then they become good at that. So if you look at life as that way, it means that you can still find something about yourself that you can do, then you can work on it, and then you can make a living out of it. You can sell brooms, or you can do anything about, what you think of. So there's nothing called a person is educated. People, they just specialize on a certain field. When you look at people like Henry Ford, when you look at people like the guy who invented, electricity, those guys, they never...
Thomas Edison, yeah.
School. Yes. You understand what I'm saying? So it's... there's no one who's educated. We must get this thing out of our head that people are educated. People, they specialize on a certain field.
All right, Nare, thanks very much for your call. Much appreciated. My sense, Babaji, is that unless we are looking to solve problems and not to get a salary, then there is going to be... And by the way, somebody's going to tell me that, so what's wrong with getting there's nothing wrong with getting a salary.
Yes. It's okay.
Nothing wrong with getting a salary, not a problem. But remember, the conversation is how do we develop the mindset that creates an understanding and an appreciation of your own personal economy such that you can grow it and be an active participant in it. Not a passive participant in it. You are saying that unless we have the mindset of wanting to solve problems and not necessarily one that is inspired just by wanting to pay bills. Let me say it that way. That's better.
Yeah.
Then there is no way that we can become innovative.
True.
Is that what you say?
Yeah.
Talk to me.
Yeah. I think you're reminding me of an article that I think the lady's name is Mavuso, Business Leadership South Africa.
Busi Mavuso, yes.
Busi. So she wrote and she spoke about the danger of South Africa. And in the article, she talks about the Arab Spring. And I think we need to understand that where we are as a society, as South Africa, the issues we are talking about is that these are challenges that will explode if we do not deal with them timelessly. The matter you're talking about, to say nothing wrong with the salary, but we as employees, we need to be looking at solving problems. I know you said we were gonna have a conversation with one of the union leaders. I think that conversation is highly overdue.
Yeah.
But here's the thing, Aubrey. If we as the workers, if we as the employees are not solving problems, this leads to our organization, our business, our employers not being profitable. And sooner or later you hear stories that this company is laying off employees and things like that. And that is because we as a team, we have not solved problems adequately to meet the market need. So when I say, and I'm going to that article there about South Africa going towards the Arab Spring, is that the challenges we are facing in South Africa, there's many problems. We talk about the challenges with the labor laws. We talk about, AI. In that article, it was showing how people are going to be replaced by the AI. And we talk about people that, unfortunately, the majority we are looking at just doing enough not to be fired. This is a big problem that will lead our society to explode. In that, when an employer realizes that the business is not making money and the employer cannot let go of the employees because of the labor laws, you see companies declaring bankruptcy. Does that help us? No, it doesn't. However, if we as a people were of a mindset of saying, how do I solve problems? Because here's something that has been proven many, many, many times. Individuals in their employment positions who solve problems and enable companies to grow and make money, 99% of the times the employers reward those employees because they appreciate the value they have brought into the business. There's a new term, and I'm saying new, it's about probably 10 years or 15 years. There's a term of an entrepreneur. This term of entrepreneur is someone who is working for a company who behaves like an entrepreneur. Yeah. They call them an entrepreneur. So if all of us as employees had that mindset of solving problems, of being creative, of meeting the market need, irrespective of the fact that I'm wearing the cap of an employee, we would see our companies grow. We would truly be building our own economy because the boss, the employer, would realize our value and we would get more money. Whether you call it shares, you call it bonuses, it doesn't matter what you call it. But when we get to
because
that mindset,
it would make sense for the person that runs the company to have that kind of level of productivity, I imagine, yeah?
Absolutely.
Unless, of course, they're very greedy.
Oh, that's a different thing. Now, here's a nice thing. Here's a beautiful thing. Yeah. People that are very creative in their positions, that are not being recognized, the competition identifies them and swallows them.
The talent leaves.
And the talent leaves.
Listen, I want to take another call. Charles is in Pretoria. Hi, Charles.
Hello.
Yeah, how you doing, Charles?
Can I quote you?
Yeah, you can if you want.
As a stand up and celebrate that.
Go ahead, Charles, as you stand up, yeah?
Yeah, Obaki, I really understand where he's coming from. You see, as an entrepreneur or in people who work, the system, don't let it work on you. You work above it. Look at the need, because I might not be afraid to challenge a big corporate. It's a business. You look at the need of the business. What you do is you seize the need. You go and say, listen, guys, I've seen this opportunity in the market. I can grow this. Like I say, it's going to bring people trillionaires. It's not limited to. It's not limited to. It's only a matter of a person who says, you know what, as an employee or as an entrepreneur or each and every corporate, it's all about business. You look at the opportunity, then the need, forget the red tape.
Yeah.
You look, analyze, and see the market share. Look at the opportunity and identify and say, you know what, I can put one rent, because you guys are making rent,
Yeah.
I can go to 3 rent. It's all about looking at the need. Like when you go for an interview, for instance, you need to know what are you putting in. What you put in is what you get out. Overking is going to make trillionaires because the whole idea is based on don't look yourself down. Don't say this is the system is holding me to this and this and this. Think outside of you.
Think outside of you. Charles, I hear you, man. I hear you. Let me stand up while I ask this question. The 350 rands that government provides to the indigent helps. Yeah? It helps. But I was having a conversation in a queue earlier on today with a gentleman who said, I don't know how to express what I'm going to say now, Masa. But while it does help in the short term, it is killing and crippling in the long term. In that it has dumbed down or blunted our ingenuity. It has made us lose the eye of the tiger, as it were. And the eye of the tiger, I interpreted to mean the ability to look outside of yourself. And the ability to look outside of yourself is the ability to see opportunity by understanding problems as a conduit for a blessing. Is that what he's talking about, Charles?
That's it. Socialization. The idea of...
And I'm not talking about issues of the sustainability of the 350 rands. Let's say we've had Ndodla Zemad to be able to give 350 rands to everybody. I'm wondering how effective that would be in truly attending to the problem.
It's a sad situation. I mean, you talk about sustainability of that. I mean, if we just looked at that specific thing, I think the other time we were talking about, can the government truly take care of us? And this is just one of those things that when you look at it in the bigger picture, it is a problem for the government in that it will not be able to sustain that. And I think outside of the government not being able to sustain that, what Charles is saying is it's actually very true, that unless we look beyond ourselves, unless we look outside of ourselves, unless we look at the bigger picture, we are in trouble. But the sad thing about the 350, Aubrey, is that it has made us lose our luster. It has made us. It has dumbed us down.
Somebody was telling me about the difference between the wild animal and the domesticated animal.
Mm-hmm.
Can I tell you the story?
Please.
I love telling you stories. He said to me that the dog that receives its meal at 7 o'clock every day, that has been able to be so much a part of the human identity, how we placate our own ideas of righteousness and holiness and niceness by looking after the dog and making sure that is there anything wrong with having a dog?
No. Nothing wrong.
Uncle Siam, because here we go. I'm simply trying to illustrate a point.
Yeah.
That what we've done to that animal is that we've taken away its ability to hunt.
True.
We've taken away its ability to go out and fend for itself. In fact, many a dog that are well fed in our suburbs wouldn't last 2 hours in the wild. Whereas a cub, a lion cub or a wild dog cub or
tiger,
whatever, in the wild, not only learns how to fend for itself, but it also gets educated as to what elements of this environment are friendly to me.
Yes.
And how do I navigate my sojourn in this place sustainably?
You need to repeat that.
Sustainably.
Yes.
So I wonder sometimes when we are in the very, very efficient, well, in our case, maybe not so efficient, but in the very efficient, we try to be very efficient in the process of wanting to alleviate short-term challenges. I wonder to what extent does that take away our ability to see a way by which we can solve problems.
Yeah.
Because what it does is that it helps us to solve a short-term problem, which is valid. I'm simply saying that to what extent does that create a situation where we cannot build and have innovation and create economies because we don't know how to. We don't know how to.
We don't know how to. I think...
In fact, we've been told that we can't. It's impossible for us to be innovative and to solve problems in large-scale ways that are going to produce billionaires and millionaires.
This is what you're talking about. I think in as much as, I think whilst we're on that, we need to have that conversation and just clarify that there's nothing wrong with the 350 that people are receiving.
Oh, yes.
We appreciate what the government has done. We understand that it gets on about itiba part. This is what you're saying.
It is an interim measure.
It's an interim measure.
Yeah.
I think let's receive the 350. But let it not kill our creativity. Let the 350 not kill our innovation. Let us know that this 350 is just a temporary solution. But within us, there's a power, there's an ability, there's a majesty, there's a glory inside of us that can rise up and we can build our own economy.
In fact, President Cyril Ramaphosa has congratulated, I think in one of his SONA addresses, a young lady who took that 350 rands and used it as capital to start a business. Now, you see, there's nothing wrong with the 350.
Nothing wrong with the 350.
You see?
No, nothing wrong.
And that is why I'm saying that it's the orientation, the way that we think about our place in the economy that perhaps needs to be recalibrated.
Yes.
That perhaps we need to understand that we have, as you've said, the innate ability to solve problems if we are given the opportunity to do so. But that opportunity always looks like suffering, doesn't it?
Oh, yeah. The suffering, the discomfort, the things you desire that you do not have, the better life, the quality of life that you desire that you do not have, that is your creativity and innovation knocking, saying, hey, you can do better. Napoleon Hill, in his book, Think and Grow Rich, he says, nature is so fair that there cannot be a desire in a creature which cannot be satisfied and met by that creature. So if you desire a better life, it doesn't matter what it is, whatever it is that you desire, he says, this is not Napoleon, he says, you can't have that desire, Aubrey, unless you are able to meet and satisfy that desire.
If there's a deep call unto a deep, there must be a deep to respond.
Absolutely.
I've heard that somewhere. Give me a call. I'd love to hear from you. 111-8830-702 is the number to dial. What is stopping you from creating an economy that is sustainable? Have you lost the eye of the tiger? How do we regain the eye of the tiger? How do we reawaken that primal ability to hunt, to fend for ourselves, to make food for ourselves? I'm on a big drive to try and help my children understand that meat that they love so much does not come from the supermarket. Now, me and my wife, as I stand up, are in a debate as to whether or not my children are ready to understand. If you want the chops, there's going to be blood in your hands. Yeah? If you want to walk on water, your feet are going to get wet. Now, my wife and I, it's her birthday tomorrow, by the way.
Oh.
My wife, yeah. My wife and I are in a very, very interesting debate as to how we are going to achieve that. Now, I like to go to the rurals, Napa, in Kwandebele. And we have not yet agreed as to whether or not my children are going to witness a slaughtering.
Okay.
Because the politics domestically, the issues around here, this thing is not humane, here, and we understand those things. We must accept them. They are part of the life that we have chosen in this day and age. But perhaps the fundamental principle here that I'm trying to achieve is to say we need to be able to understand what it takes. We need to be able to understand what it takes to have, to have the things that we desire. And it may mean that we may have to re-look at our understanding of reality.
Yeah.
And how we've been primed to understand things. Because you see, my children are convinced that meat comes from the butchery.
Okay.
And nowhere else.
They don't know the origins.
No. They don't know. And I want to go beyond the butchery. So that's
serious education. That's alternative education.
Yes. Hey, man, of course the meat comes from the butcher. I'm not arguing about that. But I'm also saying that it is not entirely true to leave them thinking that that's the only source of the meat that they love, so that they can make choices that are fully informed.
You were talking about alternative education earlier on. And when we consider, just looking at the fact that it has been proven over and over again that not all of us, let's just talk about South Africa, not all of us in South Africa can get to our traditional educational institutions.
Yeah.
There's problems that are there that we won't even go into. So if many of us cannot go to the traditional educational institutions for reasons of their own, we really need to be looking at alternative ways of educating ourselves, of saying, I am educated. How do I awaken my creativity and innovation? If you can't go to a traditional education institution, we've got ChatGPT, and interestingly today I was showing one of my clients that, ChatGPT can answer anything you want to ask. You want to develop a marketing strategy? Just type, what is a good marketing strategy for a construction company? And in 2-3 seconds, ChatGPT had given us 2-3 pages. Education, alternative education. And it didn't cost them anything. Whether you say, how can I better build relations with other institutions, other organizations? ChatGPT would answer that in like a few seconds. And this is, we're saying alternative education. So let us be open to alternative education.
Based on the idea of wanting to solve problems. Because I think
solve problems.
Because I think Babaji, if we don't have that fundamental, that foundation as the inspiration and motivator for why we want to know.
Yes.
See, because if I want to know so that I can go and sit at the Chisanyama and spew beautiful English.
Ish.
Eh?
Yeah.
Beautiful English.
Mm-hmm.
With the chaps there.
Yeah.
So that they can say, if that's the case, well, that's fine. But then I'm not solving a problem.
No.
But if the orientation, if the desire, if I'm going to go to ChatGPT or I'm going to go to a course at a particular school, is because I have identified a problem that I want to be a solver of.
Yes.
Then we're moving, we're going somewhere. So maybe the question we need to ask ourselves as we close, and I'll let you, is why do you want information? Why do you want education?
Mm-hmm.
What is the reason for that?
Yes.
Is it because you want to get a job and get a salary? And there's nothing wrong with that?
Absolutely.
Because
perfect.
meat does come from the butcher.
Yes.
Papa G, as we close.
I think as we close, it's important to realize that we mustn't allow our socialization, education, or anything of these things to make us not live the lives we desire. We need to awaken to the truth of the fact that we do build our own economy. Whether we are conscious of this truth or whether we are unconscious, we are building our own economy. So let's allow the majesty, the grandeur, the glory that is within us. Let us allow the things that are within us, tapping us for a better life, a greater greater home, whatever it is. Let's allow these desires to awaken us to the truth of the fact that we have all it takes to build our own economy.
How do we get in touch with you, Babaji?
Individuals can get us on our office line 011 966 8070 011 966 8070 or on our WhatsApp line 084 011 9555. That's our WhatsApp line, and mobile number 084 011 9555.
Obakeng ER Gaitate, a success coach, accountant, and corporate law consultant. This man has got some serious ambitions. He's a corporate law consultant. He's the founder of Gaitate Institute, an organization assisting and guiding individuals and businesses to build their own economy. Gaitate Institute also aims to build 1 million millionaires, multi-millionaires, and 1,000 billionaires by 2030. From your lips to God's ears.